Deep inside a dense forest, a man made a horrifying discovery. Inside a large glass frame, bodies were arranged with their arms spread wide, like butterflies. These were not decomposed corpses. They had been preserved, mummified. There were exactly 6 bodies. All of them belonged to teenagers. The moment this gruesome discovery came to light, chaos erupted across all of Japan. The police immediately launched a full-scale investigation. But that very same day, a man walked into a police station. His face carried an unsettling calm, unnatural, almost terrifying. He did not come to provide information. He came to surrender himself. He claimed that he was the killer. The police immediately began interrogating him. His name was Shinjiro, 50 years old, a biology professor at a university. The shock only deepened when the police learned that one of the 6 victims was Shinjiro's own son. During the interrogation, Shinjiro refused to call the bodies corpses. He referred to them as works or specimens. He calmly explained his distorted sense of beauty, his aesthetics, to the police. Time rewinds 44 years. This was the first moment Shinjiro became fascinated by the beauty of butterflies. It all began when he, along with his parents, left Tokyo and moved into the mountains. His childhood was lonely. He had no friends. Beautiful butterflies became his closest companions, but the butterflies he caught would always die the next day. At the innocent age of 6, Shinjiro believed that if he buried them in the flower bed, they would come back to life. But it was nothing more than a child's dream. Over time, countless butterflies were buried beneath the flowers in his yard. The true origin of Shinjiro's human specimens lay in his father's genes and influence. His father was a professor at an art college and a painter. One day, Shinjiro saw his father painting a portrait of a woman in his studio. He learned that she was a senior from his father's college, suffering from a terminal illness. She wished to have her portrait painted. Shinjiro was puzzled. Why didn't she just take a photograph? His father handed him a photograph of the woman. The moment Shinjiro looked at it, he understood. The photo failed to capture her true beauty. That was the moment his father spoke a chilling sentence. If a human being's most beautiful moment could be preserved forever, like a specimen, wouldn't that be incredible? It was the first time Shinjiro heard the words human specimen. At the time, it only frightened him. His father reassured him, saying that preserving humans was impossible. That was why he tried to preserve beauty through painting. But the media twisted his words. At an award ceremony, his father told reporters that he had always dreamed of creating a great work, a human specimen. The moment he said those words, staff escorted him off the stage. His father was furious. He left the ceremony immediately with his wife. Later, the media exaggerated the story even further. As a result, he lost his job. That was why they moved into the mountains. He told Shinjiro that while human specimens were impossible, butterfly specimens were not, and he began teaching him how to make them. First, you gently press the butterfly's chest to render it unconscious, minimizing pain. Then he explained that to create a specimen, you must preserve it at its most beautiful moment. Otherwise, its beauty would be wasted. Next, insecticide and preservation chemicals were injected. Unnecessary parts of the body were removed to prevent fungus. Finally, the butterfly was arranged in a preferred pose, fixed, dried, and sealed inside a case. The specimen was complete. His father told him, "A living butterfly belongs to the world, but once it becomes a specimen, it belongs entirely to you." From that day on, Shinjiro became obsessed with butterfly specimens. He read countless books about them. He learned that butterflies can see ultraviolet light, something humans cannot. They perceive colors differently. They can distinguish thousands of times more colors than humans. What does the world look like through a butterfly's eyes? That question became a lifelong mystery for him, and soon, he began wishing to become a butterfly himself. Using his imagination, he created a painting that depicted the world as seen through a butterfly's vision. Is this what the world looks like to you? No, these are the colors a butterfly sees. They can see ultraviolet light that humans can't. This is the world they see. Wow, you discovered this through your own research. Yes, that's incredible. His mother praised the painting endlessly. Perhaps that encouragement later became the foundation of his academic success. But this was not the reason he would one day create human specimens. And now, the queen makes her entrance. Queen, yes, my most beloved one, the queen of butterflies. That autumn, the family of the woman whose portrait had been painted visited their home. When the sick woman saw the painting, she was deeply moved. "The rumors about Shinjiro's father are true," she said. "In this painting, I look so delicate. This is magic that a camera could never capture." But her daughter, who was crying, disagreed. "My mother doesn't look beautiful in this painting. The mother standing in front of me is the most beautiful." Her name was Naomi. She wasn't criticizing the painting. She was expressing the painful painful truth that her mother did not have much time left. To comfort Naomi, Shinjiro took her to the mountain behind the house, filled with flowers. For the first time, Naomi saw so many different kinds of butterflies. She fell in love with the place. She told Shinjiro that she liked white butterflies. Shinjiro preferred swallowtails. They had just met, yet a shared fascination drew them closer. At the dinner table, Shinjiro showed Naomi the painting that depicted the butterfly's perspective. Naomi was instantly captivated. She said she loved it and asked if she could have it. Shinjiro's expression made it clear he didn't want to give it away, but in front of the adults, he couldn't refuse. In the end, with a heavy heart, he gave her the painting. So Naomi Ichinos, she's the queen. Yes, I gave her that name myself. From Shinjiro's words, it became clear that Naomi was a woman with extraordinary abilities. Her visual perception was extremely rare among humans. An average person can distinguish about 1 million colors using 3 primary colors, but Naomi could perceive nearly 100 million colors using 4 primary colors. That winter, Naomi's mother passed away. Shortly afterward, Shinjiro's father also died in an accident. After this, Shinjiro returned to Tokyo with his mother. Tokyo had no butterflies, no Naomi either. Shinjiro was alone once again. Over time, he began to forget the girl from his childhood. But when he turned 30, Naomi suddenly contacted his university laboratory. In her letter, Naomi wrote that she had read about his research in the newspaper. They reconnected. Because of their separate lives, they met only once every few years. But they stayed in constant touch through emails and phone calls. Eventually, both of their spouses passed away. They found comfort in each other's presence. On Naomi's birthdays, Shinjiro gifted her butterfly specimens. In return, Naomi gave him paintings. Their bond lasted for 20 years, until 1 month ago, when Naomi called Shinjiro. That phone call changed the course of his life. Naomi told him she was organizing an art camp. Its goal was to nurture talented high school students from all across Japan. She sincerely wanted Shinjiro's son to participate. Shinjiro was overjoyed. Not just him, his son was thrilled as well. Shinjiro's son loved painting. Naomi was his idol. He had no idea that his father and Naomi shared a past. The art camp was held at the same mountain lodge where Shinjiro had lived as a child. Naomi had purchased it and transformed it into an art camp. Young artists from across Japan gathered there. Naomi organized the camp to contribute, in her own small way, to the future of these children. Over the next 10 days, she asked each participant to paint a portrait. The model would be her daughter, Anna. At the end, she would select the best painting. Its creator would become her one and only successor. The participants were stunned. Becoming Naomi's successor was their ultimate dream. During the camp, when Shinjiro and Naomi were alone, Naomi took out the old painting, the one Shinjiro had given her as a child. When we were kids, I used to feel jealous of you. You could see colors I couldn't. That world must be so vibrant. It's a world I'll never be able to see. Shinjiro then took out a pair of glasses from his bag. They were capable of detecting ultraviolet light. It was his latest invention, a device that allowed humans to perceive UV frequencies, like butterflies. Naomi assumed Shinjiro was offering them to her. She reached out her hand, but Shinjiro pulled his hand back. The colors I imagine are still limited to what humans can perceive. It's incredibly frustrating. No matter how much research I do, I can't see the world through your eyes. You probably won't understand. When I was painting this, I felt like I had conquered the entire universe. I believed I was the only one who understood the world of butterflies. Then I met you, the one who truly understood. My entire world collapsed, and yet you never understood my feelings. So easily, you asked for that painting. Because of your eyes, I carried this resentment my entire life. Naomi stood up and told Shinjiro that the world she saw was not the same as a butterfly's world. Her way of seeing was unique. Even butterflies could not compare to her. Those words ignited something inside Shinjiro. If Naomi's world belonged only to her, then he wanted a world that belonged only to him. For the first time, he felt an overwhelming desire. Perhaps Naomi's gift had awakened the artist sleeping within him. As Shinjiro drifted into his thoughts, his son approached. He said the students wanted to see his grandfather's old studio. Shinjiro agreed without hesitation. But the moment his son began leading the students toward the studio, Shinjiro began hallucinating. He saw butterfly wings hidden behind the students' backs. A surge of electricity ran through his body. He realized that the purpose of art was to give physical form to a world that only you could see, and the vision before him. It was a gift from above. Do you really think that will be accepted as a motive? That's not a motive. That's art. A father and son creating human specimens together, calling it art. Welcoming people with words like, "Welcome to the art gallery." Do you realize what you did to your own son? Of course. Weren't you both always happy? Yes. Do you think your wife would have wanted this? Shinjiro fell silent. Then he changed the subject, asking the interrogating officer if he had ever eaten in a top-class steak. The officer trembled, mentioning his modest salary, saying such a thing was impossible. Shinjiro told him that even if he couldn't eat it, he could imagine its taste. But no matter how much you imagine, you never truly know the flavor until you taste it. What are you trying to say? Shinjiro explained that because creating a true human specimen is impossible, people pick up a brush instead. But real experience will always surpass imagination. As my father's son, I created the specimens he never could. And through that, I realized something. What did you realize? They left for the kingdom of butterflies. What are you talking about? They became butterflies, spreading their wings, flying toward the kingdom of butterflies, as offerings to the queen of butterflies. Only the chosen are allowed to enter the kingdom of butterflies. I merely extended my hand. All of these children were future artists. They had no idea that the man standing before them had already judged them, in his own eyes, as the finest human specimens. They are still in their most beautiful state. After turning these 6 children into specimens, what shocked everyone was that Shinjiro himself walked into the police station and surrendered. From his statement, the police learned that one day, Shinjiro suddenly began seeing these teenagers as butterflies. No matter how much the police tried to reason it out, they refused to accept such an absurd way of thinking. Shinjiro remained firm. He claimed that if you opened your third eye and listened to your heart, you could feel everything he felt. That day, after dropping his son off at the art camp, Shinjiro stayed there overnight. The next morning, he returned to Tokyo and promised the children that he would come back to take them home in 10 days. After returning home, he began planning how to complete these works. He knew very well that once the works were finished, the entire world would condemn him. Yet deep inside, Shinjiro held on to one hope, that Naomi might understand, that she might see them as nothing more than art pieces, just like when she had asked for the butterfly specimen as a child. The idea of turning the children into human specimens consumed his mind. Shinjiro believed that such a work must be created for Naomi. While he was lost in these thoughts, he received a call from the hospital informing him that Naomi had been admitted due to illness. Naomi's illness was exactly the same as her mother's. In the end, she could not escape her genetic fate. Japan's current medical technology was powerless against it. That was why Naomi decided to travel to America with her daughter for treatment. She firmly assured Shinjiro that she would recover completely. Before leaving, Naomi asked Shinjiro for a small favor. The children were still at the mountain lodge. Could he take them home? Shinjiro agreed. As soon as he received the keys to the lodge, he went to meet the children. The children were visibly downcast. It was understandable. This art camp had been their only chance to become Naomi's successor. Shinjiro collected the contact information of 5 of the children and told them that he would inform them as soon as Naomi recovered. At that moment, Shinjiro was fighting a silent battle within himself. Among these talented youths who could shape the future of Japan's art world, his own son had been invited only because he was his father. Yet as a father, Shinjiro still held expectations for his son. The police asked him, "Did you want to eliminate your son's competitors?" Shinjiro denied this outright. He said that no one survives in this world on appearances alone. More importantly, he had realized another truth. 4-color vision is not inherited by men, which meant that among all these children, the person who could best understand the world through Naomi's eyes was Shinjiro himself. That meant only he was worthy of becoming Naomi's successor. The police believed Shinjiro was simply boasting about his abilities. They thought he couldn't accept the fact that he never became an artist himself, and that he sacrificed innocent lives to fulfill his own unachieved desires. Shinjiro rejected this interpretation entirely. He insisted that this had nothing to do with art. "Mr. Narumi, you don't understand, do you?" "Understand what? Art isn't just painting or music. This is my art. Speak plainly." "Mr. Narumi, what is the first requirement to create a specimen?" The police fell silent. Shinjiro explained that the first step was understanding the characteristics of the butterfly. That was how he himself had begun, by observing butterflies. Work 1. Blue morpho butterfly. The most beautiful feature of this butterfly is its radiant blue color. Because it shines like a gemstone, it is often called a living diamond. What's astonishing is that the underside of its wings has eye-like patterns. Shinjiro made an excuse about the art camp ending abruptly and planned to meet the boy who loved this blue color. Inside the car, the boy made a request. Could Shinjiro give him a blue morpho butterfly specimen? He was certain Shinjiro would have a high-quality one. He even offered to pay. "I can't take your money. If you insist, I'll give you a morpho didius specimen, the most beautiful butterfly in the world. I want to turn its wing into a jewelry piece." Jewelry? Yes. The boy believed that mounting the blue morpho's wing in a silver frame and wearing it would look stunning. He studied at an elite elite art college that only accepted the privileged, and he was their top student. His professionalism was unmistakable. This was also how he first met Naomi. When Naomi visited as a guest lecturer, she immediately noticed a unique shade of blue in his painting, one she had never seen before. She invited him to the art camp on the spot, telling him that artists from diverse backgrounds would be there and that he would learn a great deal. The boy accepted without hesitation. After seeing the other participants' works at the camp, he became convinced that he alone was Naomi's rightful successor. In his own view, his work was clearly superior. He was extremely confident. Shinjiro immediately noticed that while his style differed from Naomi's, he had the potential to become a star artist. He was fully aware of his own talent. That talent and that confidence made him shine. Work 2. Monarch butterfly. The larvae of this butterfly feed on milkweed plants, which contain toxins. As a result, poison accumulates in their bodies. Their bright colors serve as a warning. They are toxic. The blonde-haired boy shared many traits with the monarch butterfly. He was a rebellious teenager who had dropped out of school and devoted himself entirely to painting. His work was created from a devil's perspective, something ordinary people couldn't understand. Most believed he was simply vandalizing walls, but those who truly understood art recognized his powerful skills. Naomi recognized this immediately and invited him directly to the art camp. Unlike the others, this boy couldn't afford expensive art classes. Naomi broke her own rules for him and encouraged him to keep creating. Shinjiro believed that perhaps this blonde-haired boy was the true successor. Work 3. Red lacewing butterfly. At first glance, this butterfly's black and white coloring appears simple, but on the reverse side of its wings are vivid colors and bold patterns, as if a burning passion is hidden beneath the surface. This boy always kept his representative painting in the background while recording videos. His dream was for his painting, not himself, to stand in the spotlight. In truth, Naomi was drawn to the painting behind him in those videos. It looked like blood splattered across a white rose. Naomi sent him an invitation to the art camp. For the boy, this felt like his chance to finally fulfill his dream. I want to become Naomi's successor. I want to create paintings that light up people's hearts. I'll be going now. As the boy walked away, Shinjiro sensed his genuine desire to place his painting at center stage and make that signature red color the focal point of everyone's gaze. Work 4. Cabbage white butterfly. The cells of this butterfly can perceive ultraviolet light. In other words, it can see beyond even 4 primary colors. Human eyes cannot distinguish between male and female butterflies of this species, but the butterflies themselves can, through color. This boy was extremely intelligent, but quiet by nature. He owned one of Shinjiro's books and mentioned that he loved white butterflies. What fascinated him most was understanding how the world looked through a white butterfly's eyes. As he said this, Shinjiro considered taking out his newly developed UV glasses so the boy could see whether bare butterfly wings appeared red. But the boy declined. He barely perceived the color red. In simple terms, he had dichromacy, partial color blindness. That condition was the source of his calm demeanor. Now, however, he lived openly and had fully accepted his vision. He believed that seeing fewer colors made his world richer than most. The boy also told Shinjiro that his mother had 4-color vision, just like Naomi. It was Naomi who had helped him understand that his family was different from most. I really like your eyes. I have 4-color vision, but I can't see your world. Butterflies see more colors, yet they're never troubled by it. Naturally, this boy excelled at black and white paintings. He wanted to use his unique perception to create images that would astonish people. Naomi was a sorceress of color, but this boy left a completely different impression. If Naomi's art went beyond color itself, then this boy's imagination could not be ignored. Work 5. Paper kite butterfly. This white butterfly is also called the newspaper butterfly because when its wings flutter, they resemble moving newspaper pages. The male has a pointed abdomen and an organ called hair pencils, which release pheromones to attract females. This boy created paintings in a newspaper-like format. He chose this style because he couldn't endure online bullying. Online harassment can take lives, and in the end, the perpetrators simply say, "I didn't mean it," or "I'm sorry," and move on. Through his art, the boy wanted bullies to recognize the harm they caused. Naomi saw this clearly. She believed his work was deeply important and valuable. That was why she invited him to the art camp and encouraged him to continue his pursuit of justice through art. From him, Shinjiro learned that art doesn't have to rely on words or colors. If a painting's message is meant to reach people, Naomi's successor doesn't have to be a master of color. These were the characteristics of the butterflies associated with the 5 works, and the stories of the children linked to them. Shinjiro asked the interrogating officer a question. If Naomi had not fallen ill, and if the art camp had been completed, who would have ultimately been chosen as her successor? The officer had no answer. All he knew was how Shinjiro later contacted these children and how he abused them. Shinjiro's memo was incredibly detailed, yet it deliberately omitted the actual process of committing the crimes. It has nothing to do with the work, but it has everything to do with this case. This memo doesn't teach anyone how to create a human specimen. It peers into the depths of a twisted killer's mind. Why them? Why did I kill them? Why? Mr. Naomi, you keep asking why. How boring. Can't you simply see the beauty? I say, in front of art, set your mind free. After this, Shinjiro invited the officer to view a special art exhibition and began describing his methods. Please sit back and enjoy. He first used sleeping pills to render his targets unconscious. Then he injected heart failure medication. Finally, he took their lives with ruthless precision. First boy, Miyazawa Kuran, blue morpho. To recreate that blue, Shinjiro utilized the butterfly's unique ability to reflect specific wavelengths of light. He used gray metal particles and colorless zinc sulfide particles, mimicking the structure of butterfly scales. Second boy, Ishigami shell. This specimen's pose appears as if he is breaking through a concrete wall, swimming forward with a butterfly stroke. The fading color on his right arm evokes the poison spreading through a monarch's body. Third boy, Akabo Akira. The focus of this specimen is not the front of the wings, but the beautiful underside. Shinjiro used genuine pink paint, creating red lacewing patterns from fingernails to buttocks. Fourth boy, Shirasagi Toru. Both of his arms are raised, as if reaching for the moon. His graceful posture resembles that of a child cradled in a mother's arms. A butterfly emerges from his closed eyes, flying toward the moon. Fifth boy, Kuroi Wadai. Shinjiro amputated both of his legs and removed his reproductive organs. To evoke the paper kites, hair pencils, he drew imagery that attracted female butterflies over the reproductive area. After describing this explosive art exhibition, the focus returned to the interrogation room. The officer asked, if Shinjiro had created 6 specimens, why had he only described 5? Why? It could have been anyone. What? Random killers often say that. But many people can kill strangers. Those who can hurt their loved ones are rare. You're right. The autopsy report revealed that Shinjiro's son died nearly a week after the other boys. Shinjiro explained that when he created the 5 specimens, he had no intention of doing the same to his son. This is absurd. Mr. Sakaki, what you're saying is nonsense. I will keep asking why until I understand. And I will tell you why I did this to my own son. It took him nearly 10 days to kill 5 teenagers and turn them into human specimens. Each specimen was created according to the characteristics of a different butterfly. In Shinjiro's understanding, there was no difference between humans and butterflies. At first, creating human specimens gave him an intense sense of fulfillment. But this was also the beginning of his tragic life. Another powerful desire began to consume him. He wanted more colorful butterflies, more magnificent specimens. However, there are more than 20,000 species of butterflies in the world. Creating 20,000 human specimens to match them was clearly impossible. He knew the most likely outcome was that he would be caught by the police long before reaching his final specimen. Facing the death penalty with that regret was, to him, unbearably painful. But that same day, when he returned home from work and sat down to eat, he suddenly saw butterfly wings growing from behind his son, Satoshi. At the dinner table, Shinjiro asked his son, if you were a butterfly, which one would you want to be? Satoshi answered, Papilio blumii. That answer erased all of Shinjiro's remaining human emotions. He decided that his son would become his final specimen. On Satoshi's 20th birthday, Shinjiro killed him and turned him into a human specimen. During the interrogation, the police asked why Satoshi's specimen contained characteristics of both Papilio blumii and Papilio memnon. Shinjiro replied that this was Satoshi's true form, as he saw it. Satoshi was a serious child. If he had learned what kind of person his father truly was, could he have accepted it? I have no regrets. If anything must be done, then sentence me to death. This concludes Shinjiro's testimony. But is his version of the truth really the whole story? Now, let us change perspectives to Shinjiro's son, Satoshi. Satoshi had been attending an art academy since the age of 3. The academy often spoke of his extraordinary artistic talent. His unique ability was that he could reproduce anything he saw exactly as it appeared. His paintings were so realistic that they looked like photographs, and he received constant praise. Yet one question always troubled him. What message did his work actually convey? Perhaps he had never been given true artistic creativity at all. Eventually, he lost all confidence in painting and began taking photographs to ease his pain. One day, he happened to see a video of his grandfather's award ceremony. In the video, his grandfather spoke about creating human specimens. While he was absorbed in the video, Shinjiro entered the room and asked whether Satoshi would like to attend Naomi-sensei's art camp. Until then, Satoshi knew very little about the painter Naomi. After researching her, he learned that she was a world-famous artist known as the Sorceress of Color. Naomi's paintings contained colors Satoshi had never seen before. This explosive artwork opened his eyes. He realized that merely copying what he saw was a dull skill. Compared to Naomi's work, his own felt like nothing more than simple imitation. Satoshi thought that perhaps Naomi could help him break free from the limitation of only reproducing what he could see. With that hope, he joined the art camp. Upon arriving at the mountain lodge, Satoshi initially suspected he had been invited only because of his father, Shinjiro. But when he realized that he could become Naomi's successor, a fierce sense of competition awakened within him. He wanted to defeat all the other participants. Seeing his 5 competitors, he first assumed they were Japan's top artistic talents and felt intimidated. But after observing them more closely, he realized they were just ordinary boys. He felt relieved. Each participant presented their representative work. Number 1. He compared Miyazawa Kuran's painting to Morpho Didius, Blue Morpho. Number 2. Ishigami Sho's work was painted from a devil's perspective, and its colors reminded him of Danaeus Plexippus. Number 3. Akaba Akira's painting looked like blood splattered across a white rose, so he associated it with Sathoja Biblis. Number 4. Shirasaji Toru presented a black and white painting. Satoshi compared it to Pyrrhus Rapi. There's a similarity between this black and white scale and Kuroiwa Dai's monochrome world, he said. Number 5. Finally, Kuroiwa Dai displayed his newspaper-like artwork. Satoshi was stunned and sincerely praised it. If it had to be compared to a butterfly, Idea Lacono, Paper Kite, was the perfect match. Satoshi, show us your work as well. At everyone's urging, Satoshi finally revealed his work. He took out his phone and showed a photograph. There was no difference between his painting and the photo. The visual impact was overwhelming. Yet Satoshi was not satisfied. He knew his art lacked unique use of color, personal perspective, and deep philosophy. There was no story in the painting, no imagination. He could only recreate what he saw. After this, Satoshi visited his grandfather's studio. On the wall hung a photograph of Naomi's mother. In Satoshi's eyes, this was the human specimen Naomi had recognized. There was nothing negative about that name. People had used it for years. Naomi explained how she had misunderstood her grandfather's words as a child. I said, "She's not beautiful at all. My mother is much more beautiful." Everyone was praising the painting, but no one even looked at my mother, who was standing right there. It made me very sad. Satoshi comforted Naomi-sensei. "That's normal, sensei. In your eyes, your mother never lost her true colors, even if she appeared weak. That's what you believed, right?" "Yes. Now tell me, at what stage of life do you think Shinjiro's painting captured her?" Satoshi guessed that Naomi's mother's beauty had been painted from before her illness. At first, Naomi thought so too, but the truth was different. In Shinjiro's eyes, Naomi's mother was just as beautiful during her illness as she was in the painting. That was why she thanked him with such a joyful expression. "I'm thinking, is this what my grandfather meant by human specimen?" "Exactly, Satoshi. There's something else I want to show you." Naomi showed Satoshi the painting Shinjiro had given her as a child. She recalled how, when she first realized she could see more colors than others, she hated that ability. Her mother told her it was a gift from God. At the time, Naomi only wanted ordinary eyes. Hearing that deeply saddened her mother. When Shinjiro first visited Naomi's home, he showed her this painting and eventually gave it to her. When Naomi learned that someone envied her for being able to see colors like a butterfly, she gained courage. She decided to show the world as she saw it through her paintings. That became the reason she became an artist. This was the painting that had illuminated someone's life through Shinjiro's art. Naomi's words also encouraged Satoshi. He finally understood that, for now, the most important thing was to focus solely on painting. He began to realize that his work was incomplete because he had forgotten to see not just with 2 eyes, but with a 3rd eye, the ability to perceive the essence of things. At this stage, he began working on a painting titled Human Specimen. This marked the true beginning of the competition. As everyone worked together to carry display cabinets for Naomi-sensei, Satoshi suddenly saw butterfly wings emerging from behind each person. It felt as if someone had struck his head violently. He froze. In his vision, every person became a butterfly. This was an image that could only be seen with the 3rd eye. He thought to himself, God had shown him something no one else could see. This was the true human specimen. No work of art in the world could compare to these butterfly-like beings. He was suffering from a vile illness, and before it reached its final stage, he wanted to complete one last work, called Human Specimen. But the disease had weakened his body so severely that he had to entrust the practical work to his daughter. The 5 boys he selected were either deserving of punishment for their crimes or harbored a desire for death themselves. His daughter, Anna, strongly refused at first. Then her mother, Naomi, made her a promise. If she completed the 5 specimens, she would name Anna her successor. That promise forced Anna to accept. So, does that mean you officially became Naomi's successor? Anna replied, no, there was more to the plan. That was to show the completed specimens to Shinjiro, to bring him to the mountain lodge so he could see them with his own eyes. You didn't contact me afterward? No, I didn't. Because that very day, after Anna completed the specimens, she learned that her mother's condition had become critical. She rushed back to America immediately. Her intention was to send photos of the specimens to Shinjiro later. But Naomi harshly scolded her, calling her useless and a failure. In the end, Naomi died in disgrace. How did you go on living after that? You killed people in your mother's place, yet you were still called worthless and a failure. So what did all of this mean? What role did Satoshi play? Satoshi had already decided to take all the blame upon himself. Anna said, what else could I do? Go back and live as a human being. At that moment, Anna noticed 2 Papilio blumii butterflies in a photograph. These butterflies have red markings on their bodies that signal toxicity. But in Anna's eyes, those markings were not red. Hearing this, Shinjiro suddenly realized Anna had acquired 4-color vision. He immediately asked when she had noticed it. Anna admitted that it happened the day she began handling Miyazawa Kuran's body. The color of Kuran's blood appeared completely different, special, to her. It was the act of spilling blood that gave her 4-color vision. Anna continued, the background for Shirasagi Toru's specimen had already been prepared and painted by her mother. When Anna saw the draft, she realized that her mother had lost her 4-color vision. She could now perceive only ordinary colors. I can't see. I can't see. I can't see. Help me, Shiro. That was why Anna repainted the background of Shirasagi Toru's specimen herself. In her eyes, ordinary colors were not suitable for Toru. In this way, the 5 human specimens were, in truth, artworks created by Anna alone. I think Satoshi may have already realized who the true Papilio blumii was. You did all of this for Satoshi. Satoshi did all of this for me. I did all of this for Mother. All of us were imitating someone else, trying to show that we were poisonous. As Shinjiro was being escorted back to his prison cell, he finally understood. His son, Satoshi, had deliberately starved him, mentally, so that he would turn Satoshi into a human specimen. All the so-called clues, the altered butterfly specimen, the unfinished document left on the computer, the freshly washed photographs of human specimens in the room, the threats directed at Anna, and the specimen-making drugs hidden in the drawer had all been intentionally left behind by Satoshi. The purpose was to force Shinjiro to kill his own son. Satoshi knew that once his father discovered those clues, he would feel morally obligated to stop himself from committing further crimes by taking his son's life with his own hands. I don't know if we'll ever meet again. Before turning Satoshi into a specimen, Shinjiro first went to a barber shop to get his hair cut. Then he bought a formal suit from a clothing store. Finally, he arrived at the mountain lodge to share one last meal with his son. That day was Satoshi's 20th birthday. Shinjiro gave him the new suit and asked him to wear it so they could take a photo together. Holding the suit in his lap, Satoshi broke down in tears, saying that guilt and emptiness had filled him completely. He felt he had committed too many sins and deserved punishment. At the same time, he wanted to put an end to this mad art experiment. In the end, father and son took their final photograph together. As a birthday gift, Shinjiro gave him something special, pineapple soda. Satoshi had first tasted it in Taiwan and had loved it ever since. After drinking it, Satoshi slowly lost consciousness. Finally, Shinjiro personally poisoned and killed his own son. Satoshi, Mr. Shinjiro. Satoshi, are you okay? Mr. Shinjiro, are you alright? Are you okay, Mr. Ryu? Easy now. Everything is fine. Easy, everything is fine. This is where the story ends.